invocation this morning, pledge allegiance, Mr. Cromartie.
Yes.
Approval minutes, discuss adjust agenda, Mr. Honeycutt.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We do have one walk-on we would like to add. It is a walk-on to motion to establish a public hearing on November 5th, 2019 at 9:30 a.m. in the Commissioners' meeting room to receive public comments on a request to rezone 152 acres of land at the intersection of Pecan Road and Mitchell Road from airport to resident and from airport and residential agricultural to heavy industrial and light industrial in the Brogdon Township. This has been recommended by the planning board. We have our planning board meetings on Monday nights, and our agenda meeting is usually on Tuesday mornings, and we didn't get this, really as a in time, so it wasn't discussed at our agenda meeting. And in talking with Barry and the planning board, this is something they would like to move forward and set the public hearing on.
And this is about what site now?
This is in the Brogdon Township. This is just changing the zoning from some residential and agricultural to heavy and light industry.
To help Case Farms.
Yes, Case Farms.
So they can expand this, the idea is what I'm reading here.
And
Yes,
that's,
sir.
okay, so that's not a,
Right.
that
This
doesn't
is
have
just,
anything to do with number 2?
no, sir. This is just setting the public hearing date for November 5th.
All right.
Hey, where do you want to put this at?
Consent, if we could place that right under number 10, under consent.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
as I was going through the agenda, I had some questions in regards to item 8 under consent agenda. And if it's agreeable, I'd like to pull that for further discussion. That was the resolution regarding amending the Wayne County personnel policy,
Okay.
Which number was that?
number 8. And that would be page 101, 103. And this is regarding the actual transfer of sick leave on new hires. And if we could pull that and bring it back at another time would be really good, I think, because I think the other commissioners would need to have some discussions on that. Is that okay with you?
Not a problem.
So you make a motion to pull this?
Yes, I'm making a motion if we can just pull item 8 off a consent agenda and actually bring that up at another time, at another meeting.
Any further discussion?
Do we need to vote on it? Do we need to vote on it? Oh,
We don't vote.
You can just pull it.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
We don't vote to add something, so I don't see why we don't vote to take something off.
I got no issue with that, but I didn't think we were supposed to vote on it. All right.
So we'll do that. We will pull number 8 off consent as well and look at that at a later time. Next is special presentations. Presentation of Hurricane Dorian after action report by EMS, or it's not EMS, it's Emergency Management Coordinator, Aaron Stryker. So Aaron is here, and he just wanted to go really over the memo and after the input that he's had from other agencies with respect to Hurricane Dorian. We can do it now, or if you want to wait until the regular meeting, we can. It's your call.
I would wait for the
Okay.
regular meeting so that,
I agree with that.
make sure all the public get in. can be here, will be here.
Okay, all right.
And let me apologize, Aaron and I now have it straight, or he's got me straight. He is not the EMS coordinator, he's the emergency management coordinator. And so you won't see that mistake on an agenda again, I promise you.
Typographical error, that's all.
We'll call it that.
Then number 2 is presentation on East Point's county initiative for opioid use by Public Health Director David Madden. And as the board is aware, we've received a grant recently for East Point, and David will go over what we plan to do with that grant.
May I interject something just a moment? Ms. Carroll,
Yes, sir.
don't be too hard on yourself. I think it might be advantageous for both of those young men to be here and sort of give an overview on what they do and what their responsibilities are separately. And I know this might sound a little elementary on my part, but because we've met them separately for brief periods of time, to have a good understanding of the separation of duties and how they relate to each other and how they separate from each other. So I don't want you to be too hard on yourself, because I think all of us need a little bit of lesson on that.
And then we'll have public comments. And then it will be the Barry Gray show for the rest of the meeting. So we will have a couple of 3 public hearings. Number 1, receive public comments on a request to rezone a 2-acre tract of land just north of 5413 North US 117 Highway from residential ag to community shopping in the Pikeville Township. And Barry is here if you would like to go over that now, if you have any questions. Okay, number 2, to receive public comments on a request to rezone 29.05 acres of land near the intersection of Ruskin Road and Sleepy Creek Road, identified from residential agricultural 20 to heavy industrial in the Brogdon Township.
Mr. Manager,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to, I need to
Okay.
have a little bit of clarity on that one.
Yes, sir.
I hope that I've located the right track. I didn't see any signs up that notified the public that this action was taking place. As I remember, there would be signs put up along the roadway and in the field and in the corners that would indicate that this action was in the works.
Yeah, we put up 2 signs. We put up one on Ruskin Road, right in that vicinity, right in there, and then we put one up on Sleepy Creek on the other side, right over there. So we put 2 signs out, and I know people saw those signs because we did get calls on it
Do you think
before the
someone may have
letters.
removed them recently?
They may have. Sometimes our signs do go missing for whatever reason.
Well, they are missing.
They might be, yep.
And therefore, and I wonder now how long they've been missing.
Right. Well, I know that, I don't know how long if they've been missing, but like I said, I do know we put them out and people did respond to those signs because we got several calls from folks before our notices were even mailed out. Because we post a sign before the mail actually goes. And so we know people saw those signs, but
I'm just curious, how many folk responded to you?
we've had, let's see, at least 4. Had at least 4 calls from folks.
And they live in the area and they
Right.
have property adjoining the area?
Right.
Did they seem to be satisfied that this was gonna be changed?
Well, the ones I've spoken with were just asking for information, what the request was, where was it in relation to their property and so forth. There was one call, I think, a lady had some concerns with, like environmental impacts. So there was one call that had some concerns related to those type of issues. But the other ones that we received were just asking questions in terms of what was going on. But they didn't say one way or the other whether they would have any sort of impact or had any sort of concern, just asking questions at that point. I do expect there will be some folks here at the public hearing, but what their reaction is at this point, I'm not positive.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then the third public hearing is to receive public comments on a request to rezone 5.93 acres of land on Mitchell Farm Road from community shopping to residential ag in Fork Township. And then we will recess the Board of Commissioners meeting, and then we'll convey the meeting for the Board of Adjustment and hold a public hearing on a request for a special use permit from Ramp Solar Energy and Wedge Solar Energy for property located in the Saliston Township off A.B. Barnes Road in Goldsboro.
Is this two facilities?
Yes, sir. There's, it's two separate facilities. They've applied for two separate applications, but it is the same company that is operating the facility. So they will be separated by a fence line as if they are two separate facilities, but they're, the same company's doing it, two different property owners, and so forth, so.
Would we have separate hearings on them?
You can combine the hearings, but you would have to vote separately on them if you vote on them.
All right.
And it's different ownership of the properties.
Yeah, so you would have to have a motion on each
Yes.
property separate?
Yes.
Okay.
And then after that public hearing, we'll adjourn the Board of Adjustment meeting and reconvene the Board of Commissioners. And then we will look at our consent agenda. Number one is applications for elderly or disabled exclusion. If there's any questions. Number two is application for disabled veteran exclusion. If there's any questions. Number three is application for present use value. Number four, application for property tax exclusion. And number five is our budget amendments. Now I'll turn that over to Allison.
Okay. Your first budget amendment begins on page 77. This one is for the sheriff's office in the amount of $333.33, and it represents the amount of controlled substance monies received to date. That is above what was budgeted. The following budget amendment is for the health department. It's for a total of $24,000, and it actually has to do with a grant program that they have, the Substance Abuse Counselor for the Opioid Prevention Program. They are reallocating some funds from salaries and wages to regular part-time. Those are going to be part-time employees rather than full-time. For services on aging, they are reallocating $49,651 from their regular salaries and wages, which is your full-time position, to regular part-time and extra help. This is a full-time supervisor that has been divided into two part-time positions. For the sheriff's office, we're requesting to anticipate and appropriate $3,982.70. This is insurance proceeds received. Your final budget amendment is on page 85. This is for our county debt project fund. This is a contract that you've already approved, but we did not do the budget amendment yet. This is for the Tyler software, which represents payroll, finance, HR, inspections, and planning. We are budgeting at $1.4 million. I don't know that we'll use that full amount, but I'm asking to budget that amount so that we have it available in case we need additional services or equipment at this time. And this will all be reimbursed through debt proceeds. And there's a capital project ordinance behind it as well.
So we didn't put that in the budget?
We did not put any of the debt projects in the budget. We put it in our capital improvement plan, but because they're supposed to be debt finance, we didn't actually budget for it yet.
Okay.
And that is all I have for you today.
There's no question on budget amendments. Go to number 6, motion to adopt resolution 2019-29, resolution declaring surplus real property and authorizing its sale.
Good morning. This is a track on Darcherfield Road. Mr. Sergio Sanchez has made an offer of $5,100 for this track. He recently purchased an adjoining track in a foreclosure sale last month, so he wanted to go ahead and purchase this surplus property. I had to let him know that we actually own the adjoining track if he was interested. So he reached out. The total amount, the cost to acquire was just under $5,100. That was the taxes written off, attorney's fees and everything with the foreclosure. So we would be getting all of our money back on this. He's already paid the deposit, so we would just advertise for upset bids, and then after 10 days, we'd finalize the sale to him. And that would get it back on the tax rolls as well. Thank you.
Okay, number 7, motion to adopt resolution 2019-30, resolution authorizing Wayne County and Wayne County Executive Jet Board to enter into an agreement with the North Carolina Department of Transportation of Aviation for safety and maintenance services, and this will allow us to contract with the DOT for maintenance on our roads and some of the infrastructure out there. So we will pay them by purchase order. Recommended by the Airport Commission as well. Number 8, we have removed from the consent agenda. We'll look at that at a later date. And number 9 is motion to approve 2020 holiday calendar for the County of Wayne. Questions on that? Then we have the walk-on, which will be number 10, for the motion to establish a public hearing on November 5th, 2019 at 9:30 a.m. Commissioners Meeting Room to receive public comments on a request to rezone 152 acres of land at the intersection of Pecan Road and Mitchell Road from airport and residential to heavy industrial and light industrial in the Brogdon Township as recommended by the Planning Department and Planning Board. And that's all for consent. The 9, under new business, we have a catch a glimpse video from Public Affairs, County Manager's comments, Board of Commissioners Committee reports and comments, closed session, and then adjournment.
Do we have time to go closed session now?
Yes, sir, we do.
To go into closed session to discuss the location of businesses in Wayne County, to consider the performance and fitness of public employees, and to consult with your attorneys to preserve attorney-client privilege.
Motion to go in closed session. So moved.
All in favor, raise your right hand.